Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Green Dog Podcast. I'm your co-host, Jacob Pearl. Alongside me is your mom's favorite little leaguer, the GDP guru, the Hunter Malone. Hunter, how are we feeling tonight, today, whenever you're listening to this?
Yeah, I'm excited. Fresh new fit. Football's on in less than, I don't know how many hours. Well, this comes out Friday, so less than 12, 14
Yeah.
hours. So I'm stoked. First college football game day is it technically of the year? We don't really count the Natty, even though it was like in
I
March.
mean, I
That thing
mean,
lasted so long.
yeah, but they're at neutral sites. Now we're back. Now we're back on campus. We're back at the places that make college football great. Hunter mentioned it before. Shout out to Red and West, for Sooners, by Sooners, hooking us up with the hats and the polos. Listen, we were talking offline. I think he might have won the polo game, but I definitely won the hat game here. This
Yeah,
block throwback OU,
it's tough. I got
it's
the
tough.
throwback OU on here too. It's
Yeah.
little, but I like that they went retro on it.
Yeah, I like how I have both retro. Kind of looks nice. They're our official outfitter for me going to Oklahoma UTEP in Norman next Friday, September 4. If you're listening and you see me out there, feel free to say hi. I'll get some content, get everything needed for that. But shout out those guys. Cannot wait to further that partnership with them this upcoming year. Listen, first and foremost, if you're a college football fan, you want to find unique avenues to find in your gear. You don't want to go to listen, Fanatics is good. But the real bread and butter is the local mom and pops. Right? You want these places that have been in Norman, been in Columbia, Tallahassee, Gainesville, College Station. Stuff that is made by the people who love it. That's what Red and West is. For Sooners, by Sooners, all proceeds. I don't know if it's all proceeds actually, but some of their proceeds go to the OU NIL. So if you're an Oklahoma fan trying to, support Oklahoma in a different way, this is one of those avenues you can take in that realm. Support these guys. They're helping give back to OU. You get some really great stuff. This material is fantastic.
I like
The
it a
hat
lot.
is great. It's unbelievable partnership. So shout out to Red and West, and we can't wait to see what the season looks like with them. But Hunter, like you mentioned, we got college football this Saturday. Before we dive into some of the games this week, and specifically where we're going this Saturday, i.e. me, where I'm going this Saturday, we're going to talk about three quarterbacks who have won the starting job now. We have found out that Keelan Russell from Alabama will be the starter. We found out Faison Brandon is going to be the starter for Tennessee, and Aaron Philo will be the starter at Florida. Keelan beat out Austin Mack, and Faison beat out McIntyre, and Aaron Philo beat out Tramel Jones Jr. Hunter, which out of the three do you think will have a more immediate impact for their team now that the starting job has been won by those three quarterbacks?
Probably Keelan Russell winning the job at Alabama. I think it's probably was the harder job considering Austin Mack was a 3-year guy. As somebody who was recruited by DeVore, was in the system, and should have this thing down packed. I mean, that's what I saw. We're going to take experience, and if Max, isn't up to it, then you bring in Russell, who's had a little more experience, kind of sees it. On the contrary, and that tells me one or two things. Either Austin Mack sucks or Keelan Russell is just that good. And I think he's just that good. It's a dual threat quarterback that is kind of going to add more options, more weapons to the offense. So I'm very excited to see what he can do over at Alabama.
Yeah, I think Keelan Russell was the right move. Even though Austin Mack was a 3-year guy, the talent for Russell leaps off the building, leaps off the chart. He's going to put Alabama in a more immediate successful position in the SEC to make a CFP run. right? As much as like maybe some Alabama fans feel like Kalen DeBoer is kind of on the hot seat, right, this year for some odd reason, I definitely feel that like Mac was never really the right choice given what I was seeing from Russell, what I was seeing out of camp and the highlights and the different things like that. So I definitely think that was the right move. I definitely think Faison was also the right move as well for Tennessee. McIntyre, even though he's talented and can kind of sling the rock in this Josh Heupel offense, Faison just gives you more athleticism at the position. He can utilize his legs more. I love the way the ball comes out of the hand, right? He's going to excel in this Heupel offense, and I think Tennessee is going to love Faison Brandon at quarterback. And Philo, we all said it. He was kind of like, it was a competition between him and Tramel Jones, but like it never felt that way. Like we all kind of knew it was Aaron Philo's job the minute he went to Florida. I never had this sense that it wasn't his job.
Yeah.
So I think Keelan Russell is the only guy between the three guys that have a real quarterback battle that he had to go win, because I think Faison was inherently better than McIntyre, and Philo just was way ahead of
Jones.
Yeah, way ahead of Jones. So, any other quarterback battles that I'm missing that you noticed were announced over the weekend or the last week?
I mean, there's been a handful of little ones that kind of make sense. I think the one that actually baffles me is Rutgers. Rutgers decided to start, it's right here, Dylan Lonogram instead of AJ Serace. AJ Serace is a Jersey kid that is staying home. He's played a little. He's looked really good. But unfortunately, they named Dylan Lonogram, and he is a transfer from Alabama, then to Boston College. Couldn't start at Alabama. Was the definition of mid at Boston College. So I don't know what Rutgers is seeing, because I see he sucks. He's a very boring quarterback. Honestly, I think he's a better baseball player, but he had no business committing to Alabama, and now going to the Big Ten. I just really don't see him succeeding here. I think AJ Serace is going to be the one that eventually takes over that spot, and that's who the fans wanted. I saw immediate disappointment when they announced that, so that was a big one that I saw today.
Yeah, I saw the Rutgers one, and I was like, that's an interesting move. I saw Max Johnson became the Georgia Southern starter as well. He has been all over the place as well. So very interesting. Some places going the way they go, but it's college football. We're not seeing those camps day in and day out. But I think we kind of, you have the 5-5 guys who could get a fifth year for 5 years. That got nixed. As of right now, it could flip. I don't know what's really going on. It's in the hands of the courts right now, which is very, I hate that. But there's a lot of talk right now of, got to look up the player's name that's causing all this haywire, was rookie tight end Daquan Wright, who upon clearing waivers will plan to sign at LSU. He has played in what looks like a couple preseason games and is going from Ole Miss to the league back to LSU. There's another wave of players doing the same thing, and nobody's doing anything about it. The SEC actually put out a comment today being like, we don't condone this, but we're not going to do anything about it, so pass that act so then we can do something about it. It's like, actually, you could do something about it right now. You are the conference that oversees LSU. You can tell LSU, hey, if he plays a single snap, all your wins are forfeit. That's what the CAA did to, that's what the Patriot League did to Villanova. When that quarterback's trying to come back, they're like, hey, if that quarterback plays a single snap for Villanova, you forfeit your wins for every game he's in. Hunter, talk to me how you're feeling about all this.
Yeah, I just miss when, like, I get wanting to play for your school, but, like, you get 4 years and then you move on. Like, I know a lot of people's end goal is to make it to the NFL. Like, dude, you didn't make it. You got waived. This isn't the route to do it. Getting an extra year is, what's it going to do? Sustain your football career one more year? if you were good enough to make it, you would have made it. It just feels silly, and all these people that are getting these extra years now are just players that weren't good enough to make it in the NFL. They're just prolonging their career, and unfortunately, you're now seeing teams have to cut certain players, or somebody all of a sudden now has a season-ending injury because they need to clear a roster spot. I think it's ridiculous. These people have already moved on. Like you turned pro. Bye.
Yeah, I thought it was so simple. It was so black and white. The minute you signed a professional contract, you're done. That's it. You cannot go back to college. And I feel, you know who I feel bad for is like the tight end at LSU who thought he was going to start all camp. And now you're 2 weeks from the first game and now they're bringing this dude back and you're like, what the heck, dude? I've been here all summer. I've been out here Baton Rouge sweating, grinding, putting in the work, learning the playbook. And instead, this guy can just get cut from the Cleveland Browns and be like, actually, dude, why don't I just go back to school and make way more money? And I think that's the unforeseen side effect is that some of these guys will never make the amount of money that they're making in college football, except a very select few of them. A very select few of them will ever make this type of money in their life. You know? So, like, I get why a lot of people want to try and go back and get an extra year and get an extra set of NIL dollars. But you got, like, the problem is you're just taking away opportunities. Plus, you're just, like, now you're just opening Pandora's box. You know? Now it's just like you did the JUCO rule. Now you got this rule. And ultimately you're like, well, our legislators need to do something. And it's like, no, the conferences can do something about it. The NCAA can do something about it. The problem is they're just like, oh, it's out of our control. We gave it a shot.
They don't want to fight a lawsuit. Now, I will say, thinking about it, and I'll ponder this question to you. Would you rather have these NFL guys come back, fight to play, or would you rather see the Aaron Nolans, the Jake Garcias bounce from 4 different schools to just sit the bench, never play, but collect all this money? Because you pretty much have somebody that's like, I'm cool with never playing as long as I get a bag and I keep getting all these free jerseys, free schooling for me to never play.
Yeah, but like they're playing within the rules of the system. Like,
I
guess
I'd rather
you
see
could
the
say
competitive side on top. Like, that's where I'm like, I don't like it, but I hate the kids that don't want to play football. Like, these guys want to play football, and this is a way to continue their career. I don't agree with how they're doing it.
I definitely think some players are bag chasers. Like, who was the Jaden Rashada?
Yeah,
from
he's another one. But he also genuinely can't win a quarterback competition.
But like, all he does though is just want to go get the bag though. To me, it's one thing that I feel like the solution is so easy, but the problem is you're trying to alleviate a lot of problems for kids nowadays who don't want to stick through the challenging times. If you feel like you're good enough to go start somewhere and that gives you a better chance to go to the NFL, then by means you should go do that. But what you shouldn't be doing is going from, okay, I'm going to go from, USF to Tennessee. I didn't really like Tennessee, so now I'm going to go to Wake Forest. Man, Wake Forest can't win a game. Let me go over to like Arizona. Like, you don't learn anything. You don't grow as a person. All you do is run away from your problems. Versus, like, I like the guys. That's why I hate to, like, kind of tout it, but it's like, that's what makes Mizzou, until, like, the last couple years, that's what made Mizzou really special. Guys would sit at quarterback as freshmen, wait their turn, and then they get about 2 years at starter. And they're 4-year guys who have played the position. Right? Like, Arch Manning could have easily just dipped from Texas after year 1 when Quinn Ewers decided to come back, right? So, like, but Arch stayed through it. So I respect Arch for not leaving. Granted, Arch is probably getting $1 bajillion from Texas, but like you don't like you know what I mean. But you don't expect somebody else to maybe match the $1 bajillion that Texas is doing. I don't know. I don't want to see guys who go pro come back to college because they're like, I can make more money. That's the only reason why they're doing it. I guess I get the football aspect of like, oh, I can come back, play football, maybe better my draft stock, but it's like you're not gonna get like you kind of know where you're at. So like you're only really coming back. You're only coming back to college for the NIL dollars if you're coming back to a big program.
I think I'm okay with the Aiden Carter situation where we went to test the waters and said, actually, I'm not cut out for this. I'm going to go back to school. Because he started the draft process and then realized, hey, man, I got to go back to school. Like, it's just not, I'm not getting the feedback that I want. I did a workout. Like, I have a lot to grow. I respect that kind of decision as opposed to, we went through this. I didn't get drafted. We went through camp. And they're about to waive me. Actually, could you waive me now so I can go back to school before, the last day to drop a class or enroll in classes ends? Like, can you hurry up and cut me so I can just go to Ole Miss or LSU or whoever's still open enrolled? And honestly, it's kind of shitty for teams like, not to say like Notre Dame because I don't feel bad for them, but Notre Dame's academic schedule they're already closed up. They're closed off for classes. There's tons of schools that are like that. So all these new guys that are transferring in, they can't go to those schools whose academic season started earlier. So I find that kind of funny as well in this whole process. But you talking about somebody who sits behind, and you mentioned, Manning, you perfectly explained South or North Dakota State. I mean, those are guys that are all senior Latin. They've sat 2-3 years. I mean, the quarterback right now, Nathan Hayes, has sat behind not one, but 2 NFL draft picks at his position. There's not many people that can say that, and there's not many people that would have stayed. So I think North Dakota State is one of the few cultures that are like that, and especially in this world of NIL, I'm intrigued to see how long that culture stays.
Yeah. I definitely think when it comes to college football nowadays, I feel like have lost the plot. We've been losing the plot. And the problem is what I hate is, there's a lot of hypocrites in the sport media space. Right? The first one that comes to my head is Jay Bilas. Jay Bilas for years was pounding the table about how athletes should be paid. And then athletes finally get paid, and he's like, whoa, this is out of control. We got to put regulations on this thing. It's like you created the monster that you wanted. You have to deal with those consequences right now. And we're in the wild, wild west. Things are constantly changing every single day. And there's not much a lot of teams can do about it right now. You're just kind of at the mercy of a local court judge. You're at the mercy of whatever the lawsuit is. You're at the mercy of this. You're at the mercy of that. One day you could be playing football in your 5th year. The other day you're done. You got to go find a job in corporate America. Like, I don't really know where it goes for a lot of these people who have to sit here in limbo. Wouldn't it just be better just move on if you're a 5-5 person and just get it over with? That's it. You had your senior nights. You had the celebrations. You had the cries. The only reason why you're coming back to college sports is for the money. And that's the part I can't really get with. Just go pro. Go try somewhere else. But the problem is money's really nice in college athletics. Money's very nice. So let's give a quick thank you to Montana West Sports. Montana West guys, fellas, it's Jacob here. Let's talk man-to-man. College football starts this weekend. Your girl's not going to see you until December. Maybe. But if you're one of the top 12 teams, she may not see you until January. Right? Every Saturday's booked. Every Saturday's important. You only get a limited number of college football Saturdays in your lifetime. And every year it seems that college football just keeps getting better and better and better. So don't miss it. So our friends at Montana West Sports has a solution for your problem. They have amazing purses, amazing things for your special girl in your life. We just did a photo shoot. Hunter's girlfriend is like, go do whatever you want. I got my Kentucky bag.
Yeah, she's
Do
got
whatever
a
you
parting
want.
gift. That was it. She said, I'll see you Valentine's
Yeah.
Day. She already knows.
She already knows. She already knows. Go get that special girl in your life. Let her know you're thinking about her, being like, hey, babe, I love you. This is for you. This could be for game days. This could be just to go and walk around the store. But this is just me letting you know college football's here. But here's a gift for letting me have time with the boys. Watching kickoff from noon until Pac-12 After Dark, which is now officially back. Waking up early to watch college game day. Order the chicken wings. Order the burgers. Montana West is giving you 10% off your first purchase by using code GREENDOG. That's Green Dog, D-A-U-G. 10% off your first order. We love them. They believed in us. We believe in their product. Go get that special girl in your life a parting gift. Courtesy of the Green Dog Podcast. Now,
Let's start the 6.
it's week 0. We have actual college football games this week. And I can't wait, Hunter. Let's start chronologically, I guess, from the earliest game to the latest game. Let's start in Dublin, Ireland, with the North Carolina Tar Heels and TCU Horned Frogs. TCU, we talked about them at length this offseason. They bring in Harvard quarterback Jaden Craig. Sonny Dykes is back again for another year at the helm. They lost Josh Hoover in the portal, but Sonny Dykes can get this team to 9-3. What seems like it feels like every single year, maybe 8-4. Jaden Craig, I think, is going to be a big proponent of this offense. He was a very mobile person at Harvard. He slung the rock at Harvard. He had over 6,000 yards for the Crimson up there in Cambridge, Massachusetts. But they get a nice test to start off the year. Sick helmets, by the way. They get the little shamrock going through the Horned Frog. Love that. The defense took some heavy blows in the offseason. We covered that. The defense should be back in the interior front. North Carolina, another year of Bill Belichick. Another year of the drama, right? You lost Gio Lopez to the portal. Your quarterback is what, Billy Johnson, right? Billy Johnson?
Edwards Jr.
Edwards Jr., excuse me. Billy Edwards Jr. North Carolina, I don't know what to expect, really. They had some weird stuff going on this offseason with Lombardi, Belichick, obviously. They're kind of all over the place. But if there's a game to get North Carolina back on track, this will be the game to do it, to prove to the constituents that Bill Belichick was the right hire in the first place for the North Carolina Tar Heels. Hunter, who do you, on the quest for 500 wins, who do you have winning the first game of the 2026 college football season?
Yeah, I think for me, this one's pretty easy. It's the one that I'm the highest on. We mentioned TCU earlier. Probably a downgrade on the offensive coordinator, downgrade on the quarterback from last year. But at the end of the day, let's look at history. TCU won 48-14 last year. Do we think they downgraded 30 points? I don't think so. And Bill Belichick and the Tar Heels have shown absolutely nothing to tell me that they have gotten anything better. We went and got Bobby Petrino, who he's like the guy that's trying to sleep with everyone's wife. I mean, he's ridiculous. Every job he's gone to, he's gotten the head coach fired and then got upset that he didn't become interim head coach. He just did it at Arkansas with Sam Pittman. He did it, it was the school prior that he did that too as well. This is now the third school that's like, dude, we see it coming. Like, I can't.
He did it at Louisville, did he not?
I think it was Louisville as well. That's a dude I cannot trust as far as I can throw, and even then, I could probably throw him a good bit. I don't trust him that far. Billy Edwards Jr., although he's a grad transfer at Wisconsin, he just needs to play great in order for them to be very successful. I just can't bet on that. I think we just saw what happened last year, and that was at UNC. It was belt to bottom. I think this year, I'm very comfortable with TCU continuing to bust out the belt and put it to that bottom.
Yeah, I'm riding with the Horned Frogs as well. I just don't believe in what UNC's doing. I still don't think that Belichick's the right move, but we'll go from there. Jumping into the 2 o'clock window, we have San Jose State going to USC. We get our first look at Jaden Maeva. We get to see how he looks. I think this is pretty simple. USC all the way. San Jose State may put up a fight for a drive or two, but they took some really heavy hits in the portal, losing. They had a Scudero, right? The wide receiver, Danny Scudero, and Nick Eggett as well, or Egot, excuse me.
I think it's Eget.
Eget. Yeah, I'm more looking at that game as like, okay, let me see how Maeva looks. Let me see how the ball's coming at. Let me see how he's progressing. Let me see if he's reading, right? Adjusting. Because, that is one of those games where they're going to take care of business, but I want to see how they take care of business. I want to see Maeva look good for a couple drives, probably play early into the third, and then they'll probably put in the backups the rest of the way. Hunter, thoughts?
Yeah, I think I'll go into more detail about San Jose State than anything. I mean, this is a pretty solid team. Former Navy head coach Ken Matalolovo, we know who he is from his time at Navy. I mean, he's an amazing head coach that really gets the most out of his players. The Polynesian connection that he's able to establish over on the West Coast has really brought in the talent here. I think last year the quarterback play was just so bad. Like, yes, you had Walker Eget until he got hurt. Like, they were so bad they had a wide receiver play quarterback at one point. Like, it was pretty brutal. I think this year it's going to be a little bit better. I expect them to score a little bit as offensive coordinator. He's got an amazing season, or his amazing system that produces points. I think they'll score a little on USC, but USC will surely handle business. I think you'll see USC be very vanilla as they're not trying to hide anything. They have San Jose State, Fresno State, and then another team before they get into conference play. I don't think they're trying to show anything until that first conference game.
Moving on, we got a big one. NC State and Virginia. Probably one of the more bigger matches, I guess you would say. You got an in-conference game, a game that kind of has some slight stakes for Virginia. You can't really afford to lose this game this early, but if CJ Bailey goes off for NC State, that could be an opportunity there for NC State. To me, I'm leaning more towards Virginia. The game's moved back from Brazil to Charlottesville. Games should always be played on college campuses, right? I'm with Josh Pate on that. I like Virginia. Tony Elliott, Bo Perbula. We've said it all this offseason for Virginia. I think their defense also will just get after CJ Bailey a little bit more than I think the NC State defense can get after Perbula. I like Bailey's ability to elude, but I just don't see his eyes trusting, and he's going to make mistakes. He's going to put NC State in maybe precarious spots. A drive may die. I like Virginia to play a little bit more consistent, a lot cleaner in this matchup, and being at home also is always a really good benefit to have as well. So I like the Virginia Cavaliers in this week 0 matchup.
I don't know, man. NC State is very senior laden. You've got CJ Bailey, 6'6" quarterback. He does make silly mistakes at times, but he's kind of athletic, really skinny, which is what's scary for me. That tall, wiry frame tends to lead to injuries. Numbers were good. Stud wide receivers. I think they need better running backs, and I think we'll see their running game get a little bit better. I'm excited about the offensive coordinator, Kent Roper. It's his 8th year here at NC State. Not a slam dunk hire, but he's going to be a decent OC. I like they promoted him from within, so now CJ Bailey doesn't have to learn a third offense in 3 years. I think that'll be to his benefit. But I mentioned that they were very senior laden. The team that's more senior laden than them is on the other side with UVA. UVA has like 56 either seniors or grad players on their teams. It's insane. You know how high I am on Virginia. I also have Virginia winning this game.
Jacksonville State, NDSU, Hunter, I'm going to kind of leave the floor to you.
Yeah, I think with North Dakota State it's culture over talent. If anything, these kids grow up wanting to play for their school. not necessarily for the NFL. They're not chasing a bag. These are guys that have pride in the Bison logo. You have quarterback. That's not what I wanted. What's his? I popped up like a different quarterback. So quarterback Nathan Hayes is going to be his first year playing, and he's one of the few guys that have sat behind not one but two NFL caliber quarterbacks. He's certainly waited his time. He's learned in this system and really developed, and I'm very excited about it. North Dakota State has pretty much been running the FCS for a while. I mean, this is a culture that's built on winning and having a formula that is pretty similar to the New England Patriots. You get your guy who comes into your system and they just excel. And then when you put in top tier talent, you see Randy Moss numbers. This is a system that is extremely productive and very hard to stop. And I just don't see Jacksonville State having the defense to stop it, let alone the offense to keep up with it, especially when you lose a good majority of your offensive production from last year, that being Cam Cook, who is now over at West Virginia. I just don't see any way that North Dakota could lose. It's also first game at the Fargo Dome. As an FBS school, you know that dome is going to be loud, rowdy, rambunctious. I just can't see any path to victory for Jacksonville State, and for that, I'm taking North Dakota State.
Yeah, I'm taking NDSU. My boy Cam works there. Simple as that. Shout out my boy Cam. I'm staying right here. Make sure my times are right. We're in the 5:30 window. Sacramento State and Eastern Michigan. Sacramento State joins the MAC, and they play Eastern Michigan. If you can tell me where Eastern Michigan is, I give you a lot of credit. Maybe ball knower. But both teams are not very good. I know that for a fact. Eastern Michigan has a god-awful gray field. Sacramento State just joined the MAC. They're going to struggle. So I kind of lean Eastern Michigan in that front because Sacramento State, is really bad. They made the jump that they made a jump they probably shouldn't have to go from FCS football to FBS football. But they made that jump anyways, and then they joined the MAC, and the MAC is going to give them the business. I am leaning towards Eastern Michigan, but if you're watching this game, you're probably maybe the biggest sicko I've ever.
Absolute sicko, and that's why you follow this program. Sacramento State, like you said, brand new here. They lost their head coach from last year. He went to go be the offensive coordinator at Colorado, and he took his, not Louis luggage, but what's another luggage brand? I don't have good luggage. He took affordable luggage with him over there, basically Sacramento's best players, and left them and Alonzo Carter with the leftovers. This is going to be just a bottom barrel MAC team. I don't expect them to do well at all, especially with what they have to deal with. They are absolutely balling on a budget, and they might be just balling on EBT at this point. I don't know what could be lower. As for Eastern Michigan, they have a system that is very good. I really like Eastern Michigan. I don't like them to win the MAC, but I do respect them a lot and their identity of running the rock. They will run it down your throat all day long. And quarterback Noah Kim is one of the most reliable quarterbacks out there. He was the only quarterback to throw a pass on the team. So that tells you how much trust they have in him and how little trust they have in the backups. Should Noah Kim get hurt, the backups are just going to hand that rock off. And if you run into a brick wall, go with the other team. I don't see that happening here. Sacramento State does not have the bodies to stop the rushing attack. I don't even think they need to throw a pass. I've got Eastern Michigan winning this one.
New Mexico State, Florida State. I have Florida State in this one. I'm more interested to see what happens from Ashton Daniels' perspective. I want to see how he looks. I want to see how Mike Norvell in this offense looks. I mean, they're not playing super high caliber competition, but I need them to look efficient. I need them to be sustainable. I like Florida State in this matchup. I mean, they're favored by 31 points. But I'm more focused again on Ashton Daniels, transfer in from Auburn, right? I'm more interested to see what you're going to provide to your team, right? They have Wisner as well at running back, Texas transfer. Deuce Robinson as well coming over from USC. The O-line is retooled together. The defense has always been kind of really efficient. You got Makai Gabor from UNC, Makai Jones from Duke. You got some guys there that I think can help benefit this team potentially. But again, I'm very focused on Ashton Daniels and what he's going to contribute to the Florida State Seminoles.
Yeah, on the other side with New Mexico State, I think they're going to be very competitive, and in Conference USA, I do not think they'll be very confident in this game. New offensive coordinator knows the conference really well, as he was over at FIU. I think he's been doing this for a while. He's a good OC. They are returning some good wide receivers this year, and Logan Fight, he played all right, but he needs to play better, especially in this year. He needs to make a big growth for them to be competitive in Conference USA. As opposed to this game, there's such a huge talent gap that there is absolutely zero shot that New Mexico State will win this game. I think Florida State will do one or two things, look extremely vanilla as they are preparing for other games, or they're going to make a statement. Coach Norvell's been hearing us talk all this talk about him. They could either win by 24 or they could win by 90. And I really don't think there's anything in between. Just kind of shows what kind of statement he wants to make. I think the loudest statement he's made as, my butt is in this fire. I've got the hottest seat in the nation. And out of all the quarterbacks in the transfer portal, I took Ashton Daniels, a second string quarterback from Auburn. Not exactly who I want to go to war with. Not a quarterback I want to save my bottom, especially when I could have had literally anyone else. Hoover, Benson, they were uncompetitive in every quarterback race except for him. So I'm interested to see how this goes. I think he's a little bit better than Thomas Castellanos, as he is not a quitter. But we'll see. Florida State wins this game.
We got Hawaii and Stanford next. Hawaii visiting Stanford. This matchup might be sneaky. Might be a sneaky nightcap game. Hawaii and Stanford. Stanford's only favored by 4 points. I'm going to let you cover Stanford, but I am leaning towards the Rainbow Warriors in this game. You got Micah Alotto at quarterback, who took 81% of the snaps last year. You bring in running back Cam Barfield from Boston College, right? You got Aldrich Harris from Washington. You keep Blaise Kamuko and Nick Delagidio. The offensive line is relatively intact. You add a guy from Oregon to shore up the right side of your interior line. The defensive line, they decided to go full makeover on that D-line. They got Akana from Utah. They got Spate from West Georgia and McCoy from Minnesota. They got a ton of... I'm looking at the two deep, and it's fifth year, fourth year, fifth year, junior, fourth year, senior, grad, right, on that defense. The offense, very similar, minus, Alotto and Boogie Henderson on the left tackle. But the defense, being very experienced, I think is going to help them in a game like this. I don't trust Stanford in games like this, even though on paper they should be more talented. I think Hawaii is much closer to Stanford than I think people may realize, which is why I'm kind of leaning towards the Rainbow Warriors in this matchup. It's week one. I think Hawaii can sneak up on Stanford, and Stanford maybe not being ready for this matchup.
I don't know if they're not ready, considering Hawaii won last year in Hawaii. It was one of the first upsets. They won on a last-second field goal. I am leaning Hawaii as well, but I feel like it's more of I just don't believe in Stanford. Like, Stanford is going to be just a damn train wreck. Andrew Luck is running the show. We know this. And he's hiring NFL quarterbacks, and the problem with that is, in the NFL, everything is very complex. You're teaching very complex things to 18-year-olds who don't even know how to read defenses or hardly at all. This is like trying to teach algebra to kindergartners. It's going to take a few years for them to pick it up. I don't love when NFL guys come in and try and establish kind of their mark in college football, as it's just too complex. You have to dumb it down to a port where you get frustrated and they get frustrated just because you're speaking two different languages. I think they've become more and more unlikable. What I told you earlier is, instead of calling him an offensive coordinator, it's titled the Andrew Luck Director of Offense. Andrew, you are in charge. We can't be naming shit after ourselves when we went to the same school as John Elway and Christian McCaffrey. Like, nothing should be named after you before those two. I think the O line coach is good. The running game, he's been a running game coordinator over at Virginia. It'll be all right. They're going in a battle with Davis Warren, a Michigan transfer, got a sixth year. He did tear his ACL in the bowl game against Alabama and somehow got the waiver to play another year. But regardless, like, he was 7 touchdowns to 9 interceptions at Michigan. He's not good. Should Stanford have more talent than Hawaii? Yeah. Do I believe Stanford's going to win? Not really. I just feel like they're unfavorable. They're not likable at all. I don't like anything that they're doing. And with Hawaii, they're the team you want to root for. They are Michael Alejado, the lefties, a little dude that just slings the rock and is tough as nails. Coach Kim just slings the rock. I mean, they play a very fun style of offense that a lot of people can relate to and enjoy watching because they just sling the rock. I'm gonna lean Hawaii on this. It's a coin flip, but I think I would rather root and cheer for Hawaii than Stanford. So I'm going Hawaii.
And finally, to finish the nightcap, Mountain West after dark, you got UNLV taking on Memphis. Memphis is under second year head coach Charles Huff, who came from Southern Miss and Marshall. Quarterback is Marcus Stokes. Running back Dallin Hayden from Colorado. That boy was gross in like CFB 25. That guy was nasty. A wide receiver Terrell Timmons Jr. They went and got a bunch of Colorado transfers. They got Card Smith. Is that my assumption? Maybe you could tell me this. Did the OC come over from Colorado to Memphis? Because there's a lot of guys there. Memphis, again, Ryan Silverfield left to go to Arkansas. This team is filled with portal guys. Like, I'm looking at the 2 Deep here. Great website, by the way, the 2deep.com. But everybody is portal. Portal everywhere. Like, a whole new offensive line, whole new quarterback, whole new offense. Jaden McKinnon, the entire defense is portal guys. Legitimately, even within the second and third line, like, they got a bunch of dudes. Just portal. Jaden Parrish on defense. Jaden McKinney from Southern Miss. Joseph Head, edge from Mississippi State. Hunter, I'm going to let you dive into UNLV, but I am leaning more towards UNLV in this sense, just because I trust Jackson Arnold a little bit more than Marcus Stokes. This game's going to be great. This can be a great watch to finish week 0. But I like, was it Dan Mullen, right? The head coach over there in Las Vegas, right? I like the Dan Mullen offense. I like Jackson Arnold to run that offense. I like the talent they have. I like the offensive line. They bring in a ton of experience. They're old. They're good, right? They filled their needs where they have to. Memphis just looked like they just slapped, like, spackle on wall, just trying to patch holes. It doesn't look pretty in the house, but they're just like, let's hope it holds. So I'm leaning towards UNLV in this matchup. ESPN has this game as UNLV as a 5.5 point favorite. Hunter, your analysis.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the game of the week. I genuinely believe that these are two teams that are extremely capable of winning their conferences. So, in theory, this is the first college football playoff game that we see. I mean, it's not, I wouldn't be surprised if either one of these teams came out and was that 12th seed coming out of the group of 6. Now, Memphis, you asked about Kevin Decker. He came from ODU. It's Charles Huff that is bringing those players over. He is a very good players coach. He won the Sun Belt over at Marshall. Marshall treated him unfairly. So he said, all right, I'm going to leave, goes to Southern Miss, brings a couple of his guys, also import of transfer talent, and wins the Sun Belt again. Went from worst to first over at Southern Miss, and now he's over here at Memphis, where he's got FedEx money. He got money. That's why he's pulling these Colorado kids. These are guys that want to play, are very talented, and can be really good in the group of 6. You just got to give them a shine. So here you go. I'll give you playing time, and here's a check. On the other side, UNLV, we know who Dan Mullen is. We know the type of offense that he runs. Offensive coordinator Corey Dennis, second year here. He was Tulsa's passing game coordinator prior and QB coach at Ohio State for the past 9 years prior to that. I mean, we're talking about, CJ Stroud. We're talking about Cardell Jones, all of those guys. Justin Fields. He was the quarterback coach, and some good guys that came out of there. So now you go and get 5-star Jackson Arnold, who I was high on in 25, I was high on in 26, and I'm still very high on Jackson Arnold. My analysis of him is he's a very good quarterback. You put him in a system like this, I think he will excel and be phenomenal. He was just a grown man that came out of high school. He can make the right decisions in the right system, and I think this is the right system for him, and I think he will flourish. In this game, 5.5 is kind of a lot, but I think I'm going to also lean UNLV just because the trip from Memphis, cross country, I think Dan Mullen knows this is can't lose. And when you have a guy like Jackson Arnold versus a guy like Marcus Stokes, 5-star, 4-star quarterback, it'll either be a Marcus Stokes homecoming, like coming out party, or it'll be a Jackson Arnold coming out party. And if it's both, what an exciting game this will be. But I'm also leaning UNLV.
Hunter, because it's week 0, it's officially prediction season. We've done our predictions all year, right? We've done this. We've done the previews. We've broken everything down. But now it's time for what the people came to listen for. Our 12-team CFP predictions. Now, Hunter, I kind of want to break them up and alternating going in 4. So you do 12 through 8. We talk about it. We go 8 through 4.
Okay.
Talk about it. 4 through 1. Talk about it. And we'll break it down from there. So, Hunter, I want to give you the floor for your 12 through 8.
Yeah, it's no secret. I'm a big American guy. My one that's coming out of here is surprisingly going to be the winner of Memphis and Navy. And at that 12 spot, Navy will come through. And I'm excited for it. I mean, not often do we see the Naval. I mean, we see Navy once every, 8 years become good. The last time they were really, really good was Keenan Reynolds. Imagine him in a 12-team playoff, the way he carried that team. That would have been amazing. Their quarterback, equally as amazing. Just the running back, it's very senior laden. A lot of guys are coming back. I'm extremely excited to see this Navy team play. And at pretty much everyone in the American, I'm a huge fan of. They're going to be 12. Number 11. When you mentioned guys that might have to play football and then kicked out and go to corporate America, this is the team that I thought of because there's no funnier sponsor for them than Crumble. I could be getting paid by Crumble to play football, and then when I can't play football anymore, I can still keep getting paid by Crumble. And I'm talking about the BYU Cougars. BYU, I have them losing in the Big 12 championship game to Texas Tech. Little hints of who's ahead. But BYU, Bear Bryant, LJ Martin, just an absolute beast. The coaching staff I believe in. I think they're going to be right back where they were. They went and got some key pieces in the transfer portal to help with depth. I think that's going to be the difference. At number 10, a team I'm very, very high on that Jacob is not. Virginia. I have UVA, an extremely senior laden team. I'm talking, I think it's 56 seniors / grad transfers on this team. This is a team full of experience, full of depth. Bo Pribula is going to be taking the quarterback position. And guess what? You don't like the way he throws? He gets hurt. Eli Holstein is the backup. I mean, it is a 1A, 1B. And traditionally, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. This is Bo's job for sure. He is the quarterback. He gives them the most depth, his ability to run and throw the ball. The coaching staff able to develop him. I think we see a big breakout year for Bo. And in the event that he gets hurt, I have full faith in Eli Holstein. One of the few teams in all of the country that if your quarterback gets hurt, your season is not over. And the last one in this Final Four, number 9, I have Clemson. I have 2 ACC teams in it already. Clemson, I think we see a resurgence. I think Dabo dabbling in the transfer portal, you're going to see the kind of depth that they were missing. I think we see Chris Vezina come into his own and just kill it. We talked about the running back last year. I thought he would be a huge breakout. He just suffered injuries. I think this year is the year he breaks out. I'm still holding true to that. I'm sticking to my analysis. What a beast of a running back he is. I think this team is going to be extremely talented, good. I think the schedule is manageable. I've got them finishing at 10-2, being an at-large bid. Jacob?
Yeah, my 12 is the same as yours. I got Navy in there. I'm super high on Navy because the quarterback's going to be good, the running game's going to be fantastic, and they don't give up penalties. They don't give up turnovers. They're a great defense. This is like the perfect, again, Summerall, gone. Eric Morris, gone. Silverfield, gone. These big dog coaches in the American are gone. The floor is open for them. USF is another team I'm keeping an eye on with Brian Hartline, but I'm also keeping an eye on my winner out of the Mountain West, New Mexico. Keep an eye on the Lobos to potentially make a backdoor entry into that if they defeat the likes of Boise State, go undefeated, and if the American is weaker this year. At 11, I think I'm going to take the SMU Mustangs. I think you're going to see Kevin Jennings and Rhett Lashley take the steps necessary to go get back into the playoff. They avoid, again, I believe they avoid Miami, right? They avoid some pretty big hitters. I'm double checking their schedule as we're going here. Yeah,
they have a big
they avoid. Yep,
against
you got a big
Notre Dame.
non-conference. Got a big non-conference against Notre Dame. You get a road test against Louisville. You get your Virginia Cavaliers.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say they go 3-0 in that, right? Or 2-1. And you're looking at a potential one-loss ACC team, and their only loss, so, is to potentially Notre Dame. I'd be kind of hard-pressed not to put them in, especially if they beat Louisville and Virginia, who you have ranked pretty high. Now, if they defeat Notre Dame, that puts them in a great position as well. At 10, I am taking the BYU Cougars. I like the Cougs. I like where they're at. I think this is kind of where they're going to be. And I think they slip in there because I genuinely think they win the Big 12. And I do think the ACC and the Big 12 end up being a two-big conference league because I think the SEC will end up cannibalizing itself. With that being said, at 9, I am going to take the LSU Tigers. Sam Leavitt and Lane Kiffin, the talent is there. The offense is there. The recruiting class is there. The schedule is hard. It's brutal. But if they only have 2 losses and they get some pretty big wins over the likes of, like, say, Ole Miss, well, as an example there, I'd be hard-pressed not to, like, put them in, especially if they're going to get some big wins against the likes of, as I pull up here. I should have had this ready to go ahead of time. We're getting back into shape, right? They're going to have probably a neutral site, a home win against Clemson, right? They got the big test against Ole Miss. They get Alabama, Texas, Tennessee this year, and Texas A&M, right? If you beat Bama and you beat A&M, right, and beat Tennessee, and your only 2 losses are to Ole Miss and to Texas, it's hard-pressed not to put you in there. So I like LSU to slip in to that 9th spot. Hunter, are we going snake? Do I keep going 8 through 5, or do you want the floor?
You can. No, you can keep going.
Yeah, at 8, man, this is where I think things get a little difficult for me because I'm high on a lot of teams, man. I see it with some teams, but I think Texas Tech slips in at 8. I think they do really well all year. I think their only loss will probably only be to BYU in that Big 12 title game. But they do what they need to do all year. They get some good wins. They dominate the Big 12. They're going to be right back in the mix. I like Texas Tech at 8. At 7, man, where do I go at 7, Hunter? I got a couple teams in mind. I'm dabbling between it. I don't know where I want to go yet. I'm going to go with the Oregon Ducks at 7. I think the Oregon Duck hype train is starting to slow down a little bit. I think Dante Moore at times was not very good this year, or last season, excuse me. He does need to take a massive step forward to me. in order to get Oregon over the hump in terms of being a national championship program, being a first-time winner, right? They have to play the likes of Ohio State, Michigan, and Washington at some point this year. They get a road test at USC. You can't sleep on Illinois going to Champaign. So if I see maybe one loss or two losses in here, and I think because of that, that puts them down into that 7th spot for me. At 6, this is probably where I have Notre Dame. Notre Dame's schedule, again, very favorable, but I do see a loss in there potentially. I see a loss maybe against BYU as an opportunity for BYU to also, another case for them to get in is a win over the likes of Notre Dame. Notre Dame maybe has 2 losses potentially, right? Maybe it's Miami, maybe it's BYU, maybe it's somebody else, right? But I think overall, I don't see the committee leaving them out like they did last year. I do think their body of work will be better this year than it was last year, but they really, Notre Dame at 6, I'm looking at 1 loss here, but, the other 5 teams I have up there, I view much higher. For me, going to 5 now, I think 5's going to be the Indiana Hoosiers. I think this is probably right where they're going to be. The schedule tells me that. Hoover tells me that. Cignetti feels like they're being doubted, and I kind of like that. I kind of like them in that 5 spot right there. I'm pulling up their schedule right. You get Ohio State and Michigan this year, and you get a test against USC and Washington. They're probably going to have 1 loss to maybe Ohio State, right? That's their big test. Maybe they have a 2nd loss in the Big Ten title game. Maybe that's to Ohio State again. Maybe that's to Oregon. Right, we'll see how that kind of plays out. But I see them, their only loss being to Ohio State. And because of that head-to-head, that's why they're down there at 5 for me. Hunter, take it away, 8 through 5.
I disagree with that. Now, at number 8, I have Notre Dame. I have Notre Dame going 11-1, losing to Miami. Now, I will preface the way I did my bracket was through the college football game. I put in every game of how I wanted, and I picked every game, got it through, and this is what I came up with, or this is what it came up with. So they have Notre Dame at 8, even at 11-1. Now, CJ Carr is going to be expected to put more on his shoulders. They have a very easy schedule. They have 2 tests. One of them, they are either equally talented or slightly less talented, with being Miami. And the other one, they are definitely more talented than, that being, was it SMU? BYU. Yeah, Notre Dame plays, is it BYU? They play one of those 2 teams, which they're more, they're I think it's at Provo. They're definitely more talented than. So I think you have one game where you're battle tested and you lose it because you haven't been punched in the mouth yet. I think then you look great for the rest of the year, which adds this. And then I have you facing and hosting Clemson. So what a matchup that is. Clemson and Dabo, Marcus Freeman in South Bend. What a game. Number 7, I have no other than our sponsor's favorite team, the Oklahoma Sooners. Now, I have Oklahoma going 11-1, technically 11-2, because I have them losing to another team in the SEC championship game. It's hard to beat a team once. It's hard to beat a team twice. I think they will be very dominant in their defense. I think the offense takes strides. John Mateer is going to have an amazing year, and it's good enough to host a game against Virginia, a very senior Latin team, and that'll be a very exciting matchup. Norman hosting another college football playoff game. At 6, I have the winners of the Big 12, and that is Texas Tech. And they actually get to play BYU in this matchup, a game in Lubbock, another rematch. We saw how two rounds went last year. I'm excited to see another round between those 2. And my number 5 team is Texas. I have Texas losing to Oklahoma, which actually is funny why they're seated ahead because they've lost to Oklahoma, but as ahead of Oklahoma. But they will face Navy, so discipline will be tested surely. But this would be in was it RKS something stadium? It'll be in Austin. Top four, number four, I've got Oregon. Oregon, pretty easy schedule, very senior laden. We mentioned, and I told you about the rule of three when we talk about our national championships. You got to have three of the four: a returning head coach, returning offensive coordinator, a returning defensive coordinator, and a returning quarterback. They only have two. By that standards, unless you are, I think there's been what, three teams in our lifetime that haven't had that won the national championship, and that being FSU the year Jameis Winston was there and he was a freshman. You had Cam Newton as a transfer, and that was just him willing that team. You put him on any team, he was winning the Natty. And then Will Howard, he was a transfer over there. Those are the only three times it's happened. So I'm very down on Oregon. You talked about being down on Oregon. I think the schedule makes them look good. I do not think. I think they're the same boat as Notre Dame. I think I feel the same way about them as I do Notre Dame, where I don't see you winning it. Number three, I've got Indiana. Now, Indiana is my number one going into this season. Very senior laden. The coaching staff, I mean, it's hard to deny this man doesn't do anything but win. He's won everywhere he's gone and proven it even now. To be the best, you have to beat the best, and I don't see them losing a game all season. The fact that you get to host a game against Ohio State, I mean, that's going to be the biggest game in Bloomington up until today. Like, they've never had a game bigger than this. I think the home team comes with it, and the crowd comes with it, and it'll be an extremely just an exciting environment. For number two, I have Miami. Miami, undefeated, going all the way through, winning the ACC. Should come as no shock if you follow the channel. Of course, I have Miami up there. And number one, I have the Georgia Bulldogs, also going undefeated, going all the way through. I talked about the rule of three. They have a returning quarterback, returning head coach, returning offensive coordinator, and a returning defense coordinator. They have all four. This is a very talented team that I could see potentially going a very long way this year.
So I noticed they do not have Ohio State in there.
I have them with 3 losses. Texas.
We'll address that after
Oregon,
I give my 4.
Indiana.
I have my number 4. I have the Georgia Bulldogs. Gunnar Stockton and company. They're going to do what they do best. They're probably only going to have 1 loss. They're going to be back in the SEC title game. They're going to be one of the better teams in the SEC. I see them ahead of all the other teams ranked. At 3, I am in on Miami. I think Darian Mensah and company is going to do wonders. I think Darian Mensah, when he was at Duke, experienced a lot of drop balls. I don't think the offensive talent around him was as good. You add in Cooper Barkate, you bring in Mensah, you add in Malachi Toney, Mark Fletcher, a great offensive line, a really good defense, Damian Wilson. They got another edge guy who's really talented as well, who I'm blanking on. Miami, to me, they win the ACC. They kind of blow through it with ease. They have the big matchup against Notre Dame. I do see them getting their, winning. And I think Miami's going to be very, very good this year. At 2, we have the Texas Longhorns. I have the winner of the SEC, the Texas Longhorns. I think Arch has to continue to grow. And I do think that's going to happen. The way he played the last 6 games of the year was amazing. And the way that continued and the way that moved for Arch was very important. You add Hollywood Smothers, you add Raleek Brown, you add Cam Coleman. I think by giving him some of these bigger weapons, I think is going to help Arch. The defense is supposed to be better. Sark is supposed to be better. So when you add all those concepts in, I like Texas at 2. And at number 1, I have the Ohio State Buckeyes. Just from top to bottom, they just look impressive. Jeremiah Smith, Bo Jackson, Julian Sayed, the defense is going to reload. I believe in Matt Patricia. I believe Ryan Day gets these guys playing their best football when they need to. The Big Ten is pretty heavy at the top between them, Oregon, and Indiana. I don't see 3 losses for them. I see them actually taking down the likes of Indiana, taking down the likes of Oregon, and that puts them in that driver's seat going into this upcoming year. Now, Hunter, my national championship is I am going to go with, I think I'm going to go very, very chalk, very biased, but it's going to be my 1 and 2. I think when you make these predictions, it has to be your 1 and 2 team. And that's going to be Ohio State and Texas. I think that'd be a great matchup. They're the 2 most complete teams on paper to me when I look at it from top to bottom. I believe in the coaching staffs. I believe that they're going to figure it out this year. I'm drinking a little bit of the Kool-Aid. I'm kind of going in that realm, and I'm going to lean towards Ohio State and Texas in that national title. Ohio State, they go back and win it again. I just think Saban's going to make less mistakes. I think Saban will play at a higher level. Jeremiah Smith's going to be well incorporated. The defense is going to be better. They're going to take care of business. And unless, they run into a red-hot Indiana team like they did last year, this Ohio State team is primed and ready to go again to win their second national title in 3 years.
Yeah, I think that's disgusting. That's not going to happen. I think I agree with you with the 1 and 2. With that, for me, being Georgia hosting Miami. And I have Miami coming through and beating Georgia. I also have, what's kind of funny is the semifinal is Texas Georgia, so another rematch, and that's in the Sugar Bowl, which is why Georgia's coming out of it because they don't lose in the Sugar Bowl. And Indiana plays Miami in the Orange Bowl. Deja vu? Not so fast. No Carson Beck? No problem. Miami makes it through. And I have Miami winning the whole thing. I have my number 2 seed winning it all.
And just like that, those are our picks for the College Football Playoff National Championship and our national champion. Hunter, let's talk Heisman. Who do you have winning the Heisman and why?
Yeah, from your outfit, I think you and I are on the same page. So it's John Mateer. I mean, before the hand surgery, he was by far and away everyone's pick. He was without a doubt in charge of the offense, running everything, running through the SEC, and just looked absolutely dominant and outstanding. And even coming off the hand injury, he still willed his team to a college football playoff berth. Without him getting hurt, which I anticipate he has a full healthy season, with the most talent around him. They figured out the running back room. Wide receivers are much improved from last year. I think it's just a recipe it's just right there for you. So let's take it.
Yeah, I am going to go with Jeremiah Smith as my Heisman winner. I just think he's going to have an absolutely phenomenal season. I think he's going to be so impactful for Ohio State. I think the numbers are going to be there. I think the big games that he's probably anticipating going to have is going to be there. Like, he's so unbelievably talented. Another guy I want to keep an eye on, staying with the wide receivers, is Malachi Toney. There's a chance that he just blitzes the ACC with Darian Mensah. Just blitzes them. Like, there's a really good chance that, Malachi Toney goes bananas. Malachi Toney, 3,500 plus odds. CJ Carr is the leader in the clubhouse at 700 plus odds. I like Jeremiah Smith as my personal pick. Malachi Toney is another great one. And yeah, I love John Mateer. I really think, if you give Mateer a full offseason to get healthy, he got stronger, built his body to withstand SEC football. And if he limits the mistakes with the great Brent Venables defense behind him, Oklahoma's going to be a problem. He's going to have some big moments. He's going to have some big wins. His throws jump off the page. So I like the Mateer pick. And another guy I'm keeping a slight eye on, Jaden Maeva. If USC gets a couple big wins, it's going to be because of Maeva. He's going to have some Heisman moments. He's going to have to lead some drives. I like Jaden Maeva as another quarterback pick along with Mateer. I gave 4, but my number 1 guy, Jeremiah Smith is going to be my 2026 Heisman winner. And with that, that concludes our I'm so dumb. Give me 1 second. Hunter, I mentioned it at the beginning of the show. The Road Dog Road Trip is officially underway. Officially happening. We will be, i.e. we, I mean me, I will be one half of the GDP in Beaumont, Texas, week 0. Week 1, actually, for FCS football. The Lamar Cardinals against the Abilene Christian Wildcats. Can't wait to go see it. That should be a very, very fun matchup. Let's actually see if any of them are actually ranked. Let's go play this game right here.
I think Abilene
play
is
this
ranked.
Game.
They were very good
ACU
last
is
year.
ranked. We got a top 25 matchup. We got number 21 Lamar hosting number 14 Abilene Christian. We got a ranked matchup. It's under the lights in Beaumont. Just means more in Texas when it comes to football. Cannot wait to be there. Boots on the ground. Week 1 officially for college football in the FBS. Going to Oklahoma, UTEP. Shout out again to Red and West for being the official outfitter for us. Going to Norman. And then, of course, we're going to homecoming. Mizzou and Florida in Como. Cannot wait. It's me, Hunter, and the number 1 Florida Gator fan we know, Evan Henderson. So, cannot wait to get out there. Cannot wait to see everybody on the road. Cannot wait that college football is back, better than ever. Dude, I listened to the Hugh Freeze clip about, like, these people paid good money and all this stuff, that speech, and it goes right into money for nothing. And I was like, dude, I'll run through a brick wall right now. All my
homies hate you.
Remember, dude, I was at Zach Bryan the other night on Saturday night, and he goes, you know, I have a complicated relationship with Texas, you know, me being from over the border. And everybody starts booing. He just goes back up to Mike. He just goes, fuck them. Talking about the Longhorns and everybody else like that. So I thought that was good. But we're back, Hunter. You only get a limited number of college football Saturdays. You have to enjoy every moment.
Yeah. That's why we'll also be boots on the ground week 4 in Miami. And on Halloween, we will be at Florida, Georgia, in Atlanta.
All over, baby. All over. He has been your mom's favorite little leaguer, the GDP guru, the Hunter Malone. I've been your co-host, Jacob Prale. We have been the Green Dog Podcast. See ya next time.